So, Nic, guess what we're talking about today?
What are we talking about today?
Fungus.
Oh,
I'll show you my toenails. But no,
Thank
Jake, no. We're going to talk about a magical fungus called Cordyceps. It grows on dead insect larvae and is remarkable for you, me, and pretty much everybody. Everybody should be on this, I think. Very few contraindications, but it's an amazing stuff to help you live longer and live a healthier, happier life.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the ATP Project. You're with your hosts, Steve and Nic.
How are you, Nic?
I'm good. How are you, Steve?
Really good today because we're talking about it's kind of one of my favourite things. I'm going to say thing because I want to describe what it is. It's absolutely hilarious what it is.
Yeah.
But it's called Cordyceps.
Cordyceps, yeah. Cordyceps. We're doing an ingredient podcast today.
Ingredient. It's not quadriceps, so people might have misheard that. It's nothing to do with your legs.
No.
This is, and I'm going to read this word for word because I absolutely love the description of this. Cordyceps.
It's freaky.
Cordyceps militaris Cordyceps is a genus of parasitic fungi that grows on the back of the larvae of insects.
I know.
What genius came along and said, look at that growing on the back of that little dead insect larva. I'm going to eat it.
Let's eat it and see what it does. I know. It's
Who
quite
does
creepy.
that?
It's quite creepy. If you actually Google it,
Oh,
you
don't
can
Google
see it's quite creepy. So they grow on the back of these insects and they slowly, what they do is they shoot up little stems, like fungal stems off the back of these insects and it slowly kills the insect, mummifies the insect, and they eventually die. So they kind of take over. It's kind of like, something out of a horror movie, really, on a minute level, but super fascinating.
Oh.
And cordyceps have some amazing health benefits.
Oh, there's research is blistering here. Well, I printed off this thing. It's 37 pages.
Yeah.
You sent me this, the monograph of it.
Yeah.
And we can't talk about all of this. It just goes on forever.
Time.
But it's got things like, it's one of those things that are great for boosting the immune system, and I'm going to say it suppresses the immune system.
Yeah.
And you go, what are you talking about? It's like it regulates. But one of the great things about this is it gives you energy, and who wants more energy? And that's me.
Most people
I'm old.
do. That's right.
Absolutely incredible. Well, where do you want to start with this? You want to start about the traditional?
I think we start with a bit of history.
Oh, history. Yep, go for it.
Because it's kind of interesting about
I do love the history of this.
Yeah, so there's two genus. So there's Cordyceps sinensis and Cordyceps militaris.
Okay.
So Cordyceps sinensis was what we discovered originally.
Yep.
But it's obviously now it's quite rare because they're now, there's a lot of, the insects aren't really around into the levels they were before to harvest it wildly. Yeah. So then they came across Cordyceps militaris. Which is a lot more prevalent. And the Militaris, they've actually managed to then grow it in a lab. Yeah. So therefore they have a lot of, they can grow a lot of crops.
Can I tell you when it was first described? You're going to love this. And it was first recorded by Ben K.O.B. Ye by Wang Ang in 1694.
Wow.
That's when it was first described. So it would have been used way before that.
Yeah.
But isn't that incredible? It's just like the history of this herbal medicine.
Chinese. So I
love
it. From what I looked up with the history, so it was first documented over 1,500 years ago.
Oh, yeah, documented. Yeah, that was in the first book.
Yeah. So it'd been used in Tibetan and Chinese medicine for a long time, like pretty much Chinese medicine. Amazing. So in China, Cordyceps is considered a highly prized remedy, Steve, and it was sometimes referred to as Dong Chong Xiao Cow. I probably said that completely wrong. I apologise to all the Chinese population out there. But that translates to winter worm, summer grass.
Oh, Jesus.
So that reflects the life cycle.
Oh, I love that. I love it.
So the spore infects the insect in winter and then emerges as a fungus stalk in summer.
Amazing, isn't it? I love that. And it's sort of, its early medicinal applications is incredible, especially a few of these for me. It's one of these things that you read about, and it's quite impressive. We've got two sources of this. I want to read this one. This is a good one. This is where it was originally used for. So this is in TCM. It was used for treatment of cough, fatigue, hyposexuality, and fatigue after illness. Renal dysfunction and renal failure.
Wow.
So really good for the kidneys and that sort of thing, which is a really tricky one to treat, because kidneys are not real good, difficult to treat.
They're very difficult to treat, actually.
Yeah.
So it's found in Southeast Asia, Steve, Tibet,
Yep.
and those regions.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so early scientific documentations, this is where it's sort of started to be discovered in the Western science.
Yep.
In the 18th century, so European science started documenting cordyceps after learning about its traditional use in Asia.
Yep.
Like a lot of our amazing
Of
herbs.
course, yeah.
And then, as you said, John Baptiste Lamarck. Do you like that? French?
You are a bit French, aren't you?
I'm a bit French. My name's French.
Brown?
No. Everyone says it. Nicole Renee, Steve.
Oh, yeah, he's
Nicole
French.
Renee Brown. It really just loses its ring after that.
It's like Homer's wife, Marge Bouvier.
Oh, yeah.
She's French.
That's true. See?
Let's go into the actions of this because this is a really cool substance for all sorts of things. And there's research, like I printed up a summary, and even the summary's got, God, how many references? 30 references. So when people say to you, oh, these herbs, they're not tested, it's like, oh, my God. So what actions do you want to go for first?
Well, when we start at the top and go anti-tumour effects, Steve.
Yeah, that's a pretty good, that's absolutely. So anti-tumour, so, that's vitally important because, we know no one wants cancer in their body. And so this kills cancer cells. It's quite incredible. And this was published in 2007 where they discovered all this.
Yeah, I mean, medicinal mushrooms as a whole really have really amazing anti-tumour
They do.
effects. So studies in vivo showed cordyceps had an inhibitory effect on, Ulrich Ascites carcinoma.
Yep.
And mephafibrosarcoma.
Sarcomas, yep.
EL4 lymphoma, B16 melanoma, Lewis lung carcinoma, H22 tumours.
Lots. They're found in mice.
Yeah. And then it also, the Sinensis reversed the suppressive effects of Taxol-induced leukopenia in mice.
That's immune suppression. So it kills cancer cells. It's great. But it also reduces the immunosuppression. So it boosts the immune system to kill the cancers.
For cancer, right?
Incredible.
To prevent cancers. Yeah. So amazing anti-tumour impacts.
Oh, yeah. Loads of, And I mean, there's the mechanisms of action. There is cytotoxicity. In other words, when it comes along, it kills the tumour straight away. Immunopotentiation, in other words, it gets natural killer cells out to kill the tumours. Apoptosis, it tells the cancer cells to die.
Yeah.
Selective inhibition of ribose nucleic acid. Selective, in other words, it stops the tumour from reproducing. I mean, it's also antioxidant, anti-mutagenic, anti-metastatic, antiviral as well. And I'm just quoting papers there galore. So that's absolutely remarkable. Now, what we should quote is this chapter out of this book where all these papers come from.
Yeah, we should do that.
Which is cordyceps as an herbal drug. I don't like the way they say an herbal. It's a herbal.
A herbal. Yeah.
A herbal. It's funny. So that's published in Herbal Medicine, Biomolecular and Clinical Aspects, second edition.
Yeah.
So that's where we're getting all this information from.
Yeah. So immunomodulating effect, as you said, Steve.
Yep.
So immunomodulatory means if it's suppressed, it can bring it up. If it's hyperstimulated, it can bring it down.
Yeah.
So it can be quite good for autoimmune conditions and also for immune suppression, immune suppressive conditions and things as well.
Yep.
So, as I said, I'm starting to use a lot more medicinal mushrooms, including cordyceps, in autoimmune conditions.
Oh, as you would.
Yeah. Getting good results, really good results with that. So they're amazing. But cordyceps particularly really good.
One of the great things about this, and it says this is what the book summarised, it's saying increasing evidence shows that cordyceps is a biodirectional modulator with both potentiating and suppressive effects on the immune system through regulating the innate and the adaptive immune system. So it covers all aspects and just is great for your immune system. So, if I had my ankylosing spondylitis again and it was autoimmune, I could take this. And if I had a cold or virus and immune suppressed, I could take this.
Yeah. And it's funny because in a lot of literature you'll see don't take medicinal mushrooms if you have an autoimmune condition.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not the case at all because they modulate. They're not stimulating the immune system as such. They're modulating. So they bring it up if they need to, but it brings it down if it's too overstimulated. So great for autoimmune conditions. Of course, talk to your doctor if you're under doctor's care. All those things
look at all that sort of stuff, yeah. It's funny because we've got immunopotentiating and the next chapter is immunosuppressive effect.
There you go.
And it's like,
exactly
what is going on here? And it shows when you give it to people with autoimmune disease or animals, it reduces their immune system. So it's absolutely incredible. But one of the ways that it regulates the immune system is the effect in the gut immune system, which is, the Galt and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And this is where I think the mushrooms, and particularly this one, it plays a great role in the gut-associated lymphoid tissue because that's where most of your immune system is.
Yeah, definitely. We've talked about before how 70 to 80% of your immune system is located in the gut.
Yep.
So with your GALT and then your secretory IgA and all that sort of thing is located in the gut. So, it has a really great modulating effect on the gut immune system as well.
Yep. I love this one. This is a great thing. It says it could significantly lower harmful bacterial populations, Salmonella and E. coli, and increase lactobacillus species in the small intestine.
Yeah.
So isn't that amazing? It's like it kills the bad and grows the good.
Exactly, which is what any good modulating herbs will do.
Yeah.
Grow the good and then take down the bad.
Yep.
So really good for that. Antioxidant activity, Steve.
Yeah, and I love this because I was reading through this and it knocks out every free radical I could think of. The hydroxy radical, the peroxide superoxide free radical, and the peroxynitrite free radical. So it's got all the three main free radicals it actually inhibits, which I think I love. I love that.
Yeah. Amazing. Anti-hyperglycemic activities.
All right. So hyperglycemia is too much sugar in the blood.
Yep.
So this is good for people with diabetes.
Yep. So it increases insulin sensitivity. And it has the potential beneficial effects of maintaining whole body glucose disposal with less pronounced increase in insulin secretion after carbohydrate challenge in rats, Steve.
Rats. And a lot of these studies are done in rats, and they might go, what about a human? Well, you can't use humans to pump up the sugar levels to toxic levels. In rats, they love it. You can do it. Yeah, it's not super ethical.
Yeah.
But the next one we can try on ourselves, can't we, Nick? What's this one? 5.6. You want to read that one?
We know when Steve does this, he's trying to throw me completely
I'm
under the
throwing
bus.
you right under the bus. I don't want to talk about this.
You do want to talk about this, Steve.
I do want to talk about this. But basically, it's very good for sexual and reproductive function enhancement of, and the word is activity. So let's just, there was a study on this. I can't even read the study out because it's pretty bad. Basically, they tested, they used the penis trap blood for erection trial methodology. You know that one?
You're telling the story, Steve.
Oh, and it improved sexual function in the men that they tested it on in 2003. So it's very good for that, but also increasing sperm in that too. And so it's great for you,
Good for fertility for men.
Yep.
Sort of thing.
It enhanced libido and sexual activity and restored impaired reproductive function in both sexes in humans. So it's good for women as well.
Yep. Great, really good. Anti-fatigue activities.
Oh, that's what I need too.
Yeah, well, who doesn't need anti-fatigue activity? So it's really good for combating fatigue because it has adaptogenic qualities. Obviously, all the medicinal mushrooms do, and Cordyceps is no exception. So it's really good to take after you've had significant illness. Really helps with recovery.
There was a great study that in Japan. And they tested it on a term they called karoshi, which is a term in Japanese which literally means death as a result of overwork.
Wow.
So there you go. So it's very good for dying from overwork. Okay. So in other words, it adapts you. It helps you adapt, which, we've all felt like that sometimes, dying from overwork,
that's right.
But in China, cordyceps is used to restore health after various disease to hasten recovery from exhaustion because of its adaptogenic anti-stress properties and its ability to enhance endurance and strength. So really, really important, for helping the effect of the body, and
helps with ATP, adenosine triphosphate production, which is our energy. So it helps with that. So reverse to decrease, this is an animal study again, decrease the weight of liver, adrenal gland, thymus and thyroid. So brought them back to normalise their size again. So that's really good as well.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Obviously thyroid's involved with, energy production as well.
It is.
Lack of if it's not functioning effectively.
So there's a lot of data here, but there is so many studies on its effect on stress. It was one of the ones that was tested here in 2004 for major depression around chronic fatigue syndrome and had a significant antidepressant-like activity. Basically, what they gave the mouse model again with antidepressant. After 5 days of administration, it improved the locomotor activity in mice. So it's absolutely incredible. Lots of studies on this. In healthy men, it improved exercise ability after 1 hour of sport activity. So really good to show that. And it reduced the fatigue and sped up recovery. I mean, that's in humans.
Yeah, that one is in humans, yeah.
So I love this mushroom. What do you want to call it? Fungus?
Fungal, I don't know, what do you call it?
Insect, larva, fungus, death.
Fungus, not fungal. Fungus, it's a fungus.
Yeah, it's a fungus. and I mean, that's absolutely incredible that it helps reduce your fatigue. So great to take before you work out.
Yeah, 100%.
Really good for that too.
Really good sort of, natural energy production. You're not relying on stimulants. So if you're somebody who can't take stimulants, this can be a really good alternative. It's still going to help you produce that energy without that stimulating effect.
Now, most of these things that people take to stimulate themselves can have adverse effects on the kidneys. How does this stuff affect the kidneys?
Yeah, so this has been used for the treatment of a lot of renal diseases, Steve. So chronic nephritis.
Yep, which is inflammation of the cells of the kidneys.
Chronic renal dysfunction or failure. Nephrotic syndrome.
Yep.
So, it significantly improved renal function via anti-apoptotic and anti-inflammatory activity in rats.
So it stops the cells dying when the rats are exposed to a toxin. Again, you don't do this to humans, of course.
No, you definitely don't do this to humans. Really good for the kidneys, decrease the incidence of infections in patients after renal transplant.
Yes.
So how cool is that? That's really good. So patients with chronic renal failure, significantly promoted renal function, which decreased serum urea and creatinine levels, increased total blood protein and calcium, so it's normalised their markers. So, really impactful on kidney health.
There was a study, clinical trials on Cordyceps on renoprotective remedy, and they gave a preparation from this particular mushroom, and it ameliorated the rejection of renal transplant, improved renal and liver function, and regulated hypoproteinemia and hyperlipidemia. And these are in renal transplant patients. That's amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing.
Like
It is amazing.
What on earth does that?
Cordyceps.
It's just absolutely cordyceps. And it's also good for your liver, Nic.
It is really good for your liver as well. So it's good for the treatment of chronic hepatitis and related diseases.
Dear.
So it has a potential enhancing effect on the immunological function of patients suffering from chronic hepatitis B. Cordyceps are shown to inhibit reverse liver fibrosis via degradation of collagen in rats with liver cirrhosis induced by
DMN. DMN, which is a toxin you give to them that caused liver damage in rats. You give them this toxin and it stuffs their liver up. But if they've got cordyceps, it protects it.
Exactly.
Amazing, eh?
Yeah. Decreased lipid peroxide levels in serum and hepatic tissue.
So antioxidant.
Lowered serum TNF-alpha.
Anti-inflammatory.
Yeah. So
really good for
really good.
lipopolysaccharide-induced liver injury too. So this has got a lot of things going for it. It's got good for your brain, good for your sex hormones, good for your liver, good for your kidneys. I mean, it's really quite important about how it works in the body, isn't it?
Yeah, it
I mean, really, it's quite incredible. And what else I like about this is the taste is not great. But if you're wanting to take it for anything that can be sick with, it gives you good side effects. So, like for example, one of the great research for this one is it reduces interleukin 6 and TNF, and therefore it's anti-inflammatory. Now you've got to remember the anti-inflammatories that you get from the doctor are nephrotoxic.
Yes,
so they damage the kidneys. This reduces inflammation, regulates the immune system, and is good for your kidneys.
Yeah.
So you could take this alongside an anti-inflammatory, and it would very much help you reduce the problems and side effects associated with it.
Exactly.
So pretty incredible there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, one study said it reduces C-reactive protein and interleukin 6 and interleukin 18 and tumour necrosis factor. So quite remarkable.
Yep.
I love that. Now, there was one study here on rats where it has anti-aging properties, Nic.
Yeah, the mushrooms. The mushrooms are pretty good for anti-aging.
Really good.
Yeah.
What they found is they gave old rats cordyceps.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they're old. They're decrepit rats. Right. You get that.
Yeah.
I think it'll last 3 years. The elderly basically gave them the cordyceps and it reduced fatigue, boost strength and libido in the rats.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
So if you've got an old rat that's not doing so well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's remarkable, isn't it? So, Nic, this stuff's magic. I mean, it does everything for you. And there's a few other things I want to talk about. But what is it? What are the species? What does it look like?
Yeah, so what does it look like? We said don't Google it, but seriously Google it because it's unless you're a bit.
You'll never take it again.
No, you actually won't. No, it
looks alien.
It looks alien. So they throw up little sort of spears type things, but I guess they kind of look like a mini mushroom, I guess, in a way, right? Sometimes they have a little top on them, but
that's being very kind.
Or little arrows sort of come off and so they're quite strange. So basically, if you take the insect it's on, they look like little spikes coming up out of it.
Yeah,
they're really
it's alien.
It does look very alien. So so there's actually there has actually been more than 400 species of cordyceps discovered.
Yep, okay.
But two have become the focus. So as we said, the Cordyceps sinensis and the Cordyceps militaris. Yep. So most of the scientific research was done on the I should rephrase that. It's actually called the Orthocordyceps sinensis. It was formerly called Sinensis, so it's Orthocordyceps sinensis. I stand corrected.
Nice.
So O sinensis was most of the research was done on the O sinensis type.
Yep.
It's been really difficult to find now because it's been over harvested.
Oh yeah.
So it's native to Tibetan Plateau. So Militaris is native to Asia.
Yep.
And then Sinensis is to the Tibetan Plateau. And then the long-term process of symbiosis between O sinensis fungus and the larvae of the ghost moth, Steve.
Jeez, you're not selling me on it.
It's time-consuming, and the harvesting process of the O sinensis from its natural state makes it really expensive.
Yeah, it is expensive.
It's a bit like anything that's really difficult to find and very hard to harvest. Saffron, for instance, not hard to find, but very time-consuming to harvest. So it's very expensive. That's why it's expensive. So the growing demand and its high prices and its limited, availability makes it really difficult, to source and sell. Yep. So they needed an alternative. And then they found the Militaris species, and that's actually much easier to then grow not synthetically.
Yeah, but in labs, in farm it,
Yeah, so they farm the Militaris more than anything. So that's the one that you will find basically around now.
Yeah, that's
and it has a high bioactivity in comparison with the O sinensis.
Good.
So that's positive. It's easier to culture and mass produce. So it's a really good alternative. It's much more cost effective, but it still has all of these actions as well.
Very potent too.
Really potent. So now for the majority of the cordyceps that you're getting, unless you're getting a really, really, really expensive one and it's quite rare, you'd be getting the Militaris, which is actually done in a lab, harvested through a lab. So you're not really getting it off an insect anymore.
So it doesn't look disgusting.
So you don't have to worry too much
these kind of look like orangey mushrooms.
About that.
Well, I want to hit with a couple of studies. Basically, it's great for dysglycemia. And what happens in diabetics is they get kidney damage.
Yes.
And because this is good for kidneys, this has been studied a lot in diabetics. And a review of 22 studies, including 1,746 people with chronic kidney disease who took cordyceps, experienced improved kidney function. Wow. So that's pretty cool, isn't it, for diabetics? Because diabetics ruin their kidneys. And another organ we haven't mentioned are the lungs.
Yes,
and it's great for the lungs. And the reason why this is good for the lungs is I found a study here. What they did was they randomized a double-blind placebo-controlled study in 65 people, 33 in the cordyceps group, 32 in the placebo group. So they got people, 65 people with COVID. There's millions of those around. Gave half them cordyceps. And what they found was that if they gave cordyceps a gram and a half a day, which is a magic dose, it showed effectiveness to mild to moderate COVID-19 infections at evidenced by a proportionally higher number of recoveries on day 5, the relatively shorter time of improvement of clinical symptoms, and the proportionally higher number of patients showing negative PCR tests on day 10. So it symptomatically improved them and got rid of the virus sooner by boosting the immune system. So you can see it's great for the lungs. And that's where COVID typically hits the lungs quite bad. So really, really good one there. So it's absolutely fantastic. And more good news, that it's great for benign prostatic hypertrophy.
Wow.
1922 study. They gave for 90 days patients with BPH, but prostatic problems, basically reduced the size of the prostate and improved the symptoms. How cool is that?
It's very cool, isn't it? Very cool.
So there's an indication for this, which is like who needs it and what do you need it for, and they give you a really. It's not as simple as you'd think, because usually it's like, oh, if people with BPH, salt palmetto, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But this one it goes on forever. It's great for fatigue, support energy levels, convalescence after infection, stress, improve vitality, general daily health prophylaxis regime, including healthy aging.
Who doesn't want that?
And it's good for anyone with asthma, lung problems, or kidney problems, or cardiovascular health, high blood pressure, hyperlipidemia, and it's good for anyone with inflammation or arthritis. That's its indications. Isn't that amazing to have what a resume?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Like who would not benefit from taking this disgustingly looking mushroom?
Well, if you're pregnant, there's not a lot of studies around it for pregnancy, so you'd probably be best not to do that. But that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah. They say avoid taking it with cyclosporin, which is an anti-rejection drug, or it's actually given for psoriasis.
Medications,
yeah.
Then no, because it is immune modulating, but it will have a stimulant.
Yep.
It's going to try to bring your immune system
There was one study that reported that cordyceps may help improve cyclosporin-induced nephrotoxicity, so it helps with the kidneys there. So check with your GP or doctor, or in this case, specialist or something who's ever treating you with that.
Yeah, if you're on anticoagulant medication, platelet drugs, there's a caution around it.
Oh, caution,
Yeah, so just be careful of that. It's not a strong caution. It's not really been reported in humans, but it's something to just be aware of.
And I love this warning. Monitor with testosterone as there may be theoretical additive effects.
Oh, goodness.
So you boost testosterone higher. Oh, that'd be terrible, wouldn't it? And also use with chemotherapy is actually...
This is actually good, yeah.
Yeah, they recommend it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things you can't use around with chemotherapy, but this one is actually one that can be quite beneficial.
Because they've tested it with it, and it may improve the quality of life and cellular immunity in patients undergoing cancer chemotherapy. How good is that?
So good, isn't it?
And I mean, dosage is about 1.5 grams is what the studies suggest.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to add anything to that. Now, Nic, if someone waddles into you, and you're a naturopath, Nicole Brown naturopathy, who would you not give this to? Anyway, it's expensive, but who would you give it to?
Yeah, so anyone with immune issues, basically, fatigue, hormonal stuff, just so many things. Like I said, I'm starting to use mushrooms. I never used to use a lot of medicinal mushrooms, but I'm using them a lot more now. But any sort of immune stuff or fatigue stuff, generally, really, really good for the cordyceps, particularly the fatigue stuff that I think cordyceps is quite used to be quite big around athletes in different countries as well. So really good for that, performance related fatigue and things like that. So definitely they're the sort of clients that would be
and old aging men
aging men, men with any low testosterone, BPH,
anyone with COVID, it's been tested in that.
Longevity, I guess. Longevity. I mean, longevity, generally the doses can be a lot higher for longevity to have an impact. So watch that, but definitely will still have a really positive effect. So, I mean, really anyone you could give it to, really, couldn't you?
Every time I do these bloody podcasts, I want to take the stuff that I'm talking about, because you do research on it. You go, oh, that's good. And then when you say it out loud, it's absolutely astonishing what this stuff does.
Yeah, it is great. It's really, really good. So and if you're looking to, get into the gym and you don't take stimulants and you still want that energy production, find something with cordyceps or some sort of, product out there that might have cordyceps in it, natural energy producing compounds.
And if you're overworked and depleted and, look, this won't do your work for you, but it'll help you cope with it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's actually designed. So, Nic, that's incredible. I want some. I don't want to look at it. I'll just take it in a capsule. Thank you very much, because it looks pretty gross.
And you can get it in a capsule.
No, of course you can.
You can.
All right. Well, that's about all we've got time for. So, Nic, thank you for that.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next week. Bye. So, Nic, we've got FAQs, frequently asked questions.
FAQs are back. If you have an FAQ, comments or email it to the email address below.
Yeah, please do, because we love these sort of things. This is a really interesting one, and I'm pitching it. I said I'm going to ask you because you're a personal trainer. So as well as a naturopath and all that sort of stuff. Hey, Nic and Steve, I'm Carlos from Sydney, and I've just gotten serious about strength training over the past couple of months, and it's been amazing, except for the soreness. I'm hitting the gym about 4 times a week, but I feel like I'm barely recovering in time. I'm back for my next session. That sounds like me. Are there any specific nutrients, foods or supplements you recommend that could help with muscle recovery and reduce that constant soreness? I'd love to be able to bounce back faster so I can keep improving. Thanks a ton, and I love the podcast. Nic, what do you do? This is a pretty common question, soreness.
It's a pretty common question. Well, my first question is, if you're hitting the gym 4 times a week, what's your breakdown? Are you giving yourself rest in between those workouts? Are you going too hard and not giving yourself time to recover?
Yep.
So that would be my first question. And if you are giving yourself time to recover but you're not recovering well, are you fueling yourself well enough? So you're getting the calories in there, you're getting the proteins in there. That'd be my next question. And then any supplements, definitely I'd be putting creatine in there.
Yeah.
100% creatine. You could do some glutamine, can be good for recovery. Make sure you've got your BCAAs in there as well. So you've got the amino acid profile happening to help to, fuel the recovery in the muscles as well. Magnesium, really good. Yeah. Really good for that muscle soreness as well. That'd be my basic things to do. What do you got, Steve?
Body balance collagen, I think, is good.
Yeah, it's
because that's a really good one for the muscles and even for the tendons that you stress. Because you're stressing the tendons out as well as the muscles.
Yeah.
And try and look at making sure you're getting quality sleep.
Yeah, that's a big one, actually.
And if you're stressing or you're not sleeping, get something herbally natural to help you sleep deeper, just to get more recovery.
And get some stretching happening. So get rid of that lactic acid and walk around, walk it off. Walk between. In the
There's all that boring stuff.
All that boring stuff.
No, it's true. It's true. You're right. You can't forget about that stuff. Well, that's great, Nic.
Yeah. All right.
All right. You got one for me?
Got one for you, Steve.
Good.
Hey, Steve and Nic. Emma here from sunny Melbourne. Oh, we're both Melburnians.
Pretty Emma.
I've been trying to cut back on sugar for a while now because I've read so much about how it can impact energy levels and even mood. I've started using sugar substitutes like stevia and monk fruit, but I keep hearing mixed opinions. Some people say they're way healthier than sugar, while others think they can mess with your metabolism or even make cravings worse. Do you think these substitutes are actually a good alternative? Are there specific ones that are better than others? I'd love to hear what you two legends think of it.
Well, it's a good question. Firstly, we know sugar is bad for you, full stop, end of story. It dental decays to your fat ass. It's just terrible. This thing puts on weight. It's got calories and it's shocking. It increases insulin.
It does. Bad all round.
Bad stuff. So we don't need that. So you got to cut that out.
Yeah. So you're doing great on deciding to cut that out, Emma.
Yeah. So that's a good thing. The second thing is stevia and monk fruit. I'm a fan of those. I don't find them a problem at all, especially if you're going to want something sweet. Should you just eat whole foods instead? Sure, but we live in the real world. I get it. I have stevia and monk fruit.
Yes, yeah. I do.
I sprinkle some on some berries and stuff. It's nice. It just tastes nice. It just gives that sweet option because I don't eat sugary chocolate or anything. I just have, the healthy stuff. So I think it's really good. Stevia is good for your gut as well. And if monk fruit, if you don't react to it, I think you're absolutely fine to have it. There's no problem at all. Yeah. So I'd say go for it in moderation, of course.
Yeah.
And just get off the sugar like you're doing, and it's absolutely terrific. So good on you, Emmy. Thanks for ringing in.
Yeah, I think can it make cravings worse? Well, not really. I mean, it depends. It's still activating your sweet receptors on the tongue, so your body may still think there's more sugar coming, and then react to that possibly. So, but I'm with you. Stevia and monk fruit, pretty good. It's all the old sugars. Yeah, so the xylitol, erythritol, all those
too
sorts
much
of things.
Those.
And they can be a little bit detrimental to the gut sometimes.
Maltitol's
the worst. Yeah, laxative effect.
Have you ever overdosed on that?
No,
I have.
Because it doesn't taste good.
I ate a lot of sugars, a lot of lollies once, and my gut feels funny, and I read the packet afterwards.
May have a laxative effect.
Oh, it did have a laxative effect. It did have a laxative effect.
Yeah.
Very powerful one.
I'm with you, stevia and monk fruit. And particularly they're really good tools to use if you are trying to get off sugar and you are having those sugar cravings. So 100% they're great tools to use while you're moving towards sugar-free.
Brilliant. Oh, well, thanks for writing in, Emma.
Yeah, thanks, Emma.